Hello everyone, and welcome to Divine Debut. Hope that you're all doing well. Okay, this is your Astro update. So just looking at the energies that we're working with these days. Okay, today is the 15th of November, as you can see on your screens. 15th of November, and the sun is transiting through Scorpio. Happy birthday, dear Scorpio, if it's your birthday today. Okay, we know Scorpio is a fixed water sign. Fixed means obviously, fixed signs don't like changes. They're fixed, they're dead set on something. It's, they're very passionate about their emotions. Remember, Scorpio, we're all feeling as the sun is transiting through Scorpio that we're going through a Plutonian dark chapter of our lives. Chapter for some of you will be longer than others. Everyone feels the energies on a different scale, obviously, depending on what's in their own birth chart. Okay, but the sun going through the dark sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is secrecy, it's mysticism, it's depth, it's transformative, it's emotional, it's very psychic. It's Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars, and Pluto and Mars are both malefic planets. So Scorpio has the ability, the energy of Scorpio, the archetype is, I'm not scared to look into the dark. It's a moment or a time in my life when I'm ready. It's like putting a flashlight, looking into the darkest areas of our life, of a situation. That's what the sun does as it's transiting through the dark archetype of Scorpio. And Scorpio, remember, also speaks to money. It speaks to money coming through from other sources, from other people, from its shared resources. It's the bank, it's the loan, it's a will, it's any forms of money, and it can be big amounts of money. Scorpio also rules taxes. So, and even with Mercury and Mars there, Mars rules also Scorpio. So we've got the drive, the desire, the passion to move forward. Mars is very comfortable here. And remember, Scorpio is also, it rules sex. So Mars transiting through Scorpio does speak to a depth where desires, craving, is concerned, whether it's emotional depth, connection, or physical. It can be both, okay, in the arena of relationships. But usually when we look at the area of, an archetype, we always take into account the opposite sign, which is Taurus. Now, we've had a new moon in Scorpio on the 4th of November, today being the 15th. That was a difficult new moon as we've got Uranus across here, and it was right on. So that new moon happened around the same degree that Uranus is transiting, around the 12th degree. So these are the two fixed signs. We've got fixed water sign of Scorpio and fixed earth, which is Taurus. Taurus rules what we own, what makes us comfortable, what is ours. Taurus is the physical body as well. It rules the five senses. Remember, Taurus is ruled by Venus. And Venus is money, it's values, it's what we love, it's how we love, it's how we feel protected, provided for. Taurus is also things that make us feel good. It rules what the earth gives us. So the food, how we nourish our bodies. What do we nourish our bodies with? A good meal, anything that is Venusian and that tastes good, smells good, feels good, that we love. It's all Taurus. So when we look at an axis, we're looking at both sides. So we've just, recently had a new moon in Scorpio. Now we're heading towards an eclipse, which is a full moon that will be happening in the sign of Taurus. It's happening on the 19th of this month. as the moon, as you could see here. So the moon conjoined with the sun to have a new moon. That was back on the 4th of November, again, depending on where you are in the world, roughly around the 4th, and the moon has come all the way around and will conjoin Algol, which is a difficult fixed star. So this eclipse won't be an easy one happening on the 19th, everyone. Algol is a dark energy. For those of you that are not with me on Patreon, you're missing out a lot of information as we go into the details. We look at the month ahead, and we also look at the eclipses. We go into the finest details with a fine-tooth comb. So those of you that you're very interested in the details, do join us on Patreon. I also offer some horoscopes that I do, or, the month ahead, the astrology of the month ahead of November, which you can purchase as a one-off payment through my website. So I'll give you the links. They'll be beneath this video. If you are interested, I've been looking at the lunar eclipse, at the new moon, which happened in Scorpio. So if you're interested in anything like that, do join me. So yes, this eclipse is not going to be an easy one. And in mythology, Algol is represented by a Medusa. Medusa had a head of hair which was serpents, snakes. So it speaks to venom. It speaks to heads being separated. I don't know how I can say it differently. Heads being taken off. You know how they used to say, off with their heads, which was a punishment. Now, heads can speak to heads of state, heads of governments, heads of countries, people that are in positions of power. So this eclipse, which is a full moon on the 19th, on the axis Taurus and Scorpio, will be quite a challenging eclipse. Remember, it's a full moon, therefore, even though Taurus, is a beautiful position for the moon loves being in the sign of Taurus. Emotionally, logically, we're feeling good. But this is an eclipse, and eclipses can never be easy, everyone. Now, eclipses mean something is being eclipsed from our lives, so something will be culminating, ending. There's a sense of karma and justice with maybe even dark energies concerning Algol being right on this full moon, this eclipse. So what's being eclipsed, in your own personal life, but also on a collective level in the cosmos. We shall see. Eclipse energies are already playing out. It's more internal, of course. It's more emotional. Lunar eclipses are more internal. And then on the 4th of December, everyone, which is exactly a month after that Scorpio new moon in Scorpio, on the 4th of the next month, so December, we're going to be having a solar eclipse, which will be happening on the axis Sagittarius and Gemini. So the mutable signs, right? Sagittarius and Gemini. This is where the eclipses at the end of the year, the eclipses, as many of you know, because you've been following me or whoever you listen to and you're learning from, we know that the full moons and new moons that are very close to the north and south nodes are eclipses. So we've been dealing with, the nodes transiting through Gemini and Sagittarius almost a year and a half now. It takes 18 months for the nodes of the moon, okay, which are very strong karmic points in the sky, to change axis. So we're changing axis from Sagittarius, Gemini, and the nodes are shifting into Taurus North Node and Scorpio South Node as the nodes naturally move backwards in the opposite direction of what the planets do. So this full moon eclipse in Taurus will be the first the first eclipse on this axis Taurus Scorpio, so it's got a lot to do with money, what we own and what comes through from other sources, from other people. And obviously Taurus and Scorpio being fixed signs, eclipses that happen on the fixed sign axis are much more felt. They're more potent. Now remember, this is an axis of the fixed signs, Taurus and Scorpio. I've been talking about the fixed sign axis all year. So Aquarius and Leo also. This is the fixed cross, let's say. So for the next year and a half, 18 months moving forward, the fixed signs will be feeling the changes, the fated changes that are taking place in their life. And even though eclipses are difficult, Spirit knows what's best for us and therefore relieves us through karmic events. So if we haven't been on the right path to our soul's mission, our soul's calling, the eclipses sort of jolt us, push us towards what our soul's purpose is. And that push from the eclipses are not, many times, is not easy. Okay, depending on what's going on with the eclipse. So as I said, for more information, do join me on Patreon. I am actually, after this video, I'll be doing the video on the 3 lucky winners, which we take every month. They win free readings through joining us on Patreon. Every month, 3 free winners, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, and a 60-minute free tarot reading with myself every single month. So I'll be choosing the winners of November. So do press on that notification bell, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and join us on Patreon. You're missing out on a lot if you're not with us. Anyway, so yes, the axis, the fixed sign axis, has been in turmoil, in difficult position the whole year, as Saturn has been squaring over to Uranus. Okay, this Saturn-Uranus square has been going on all year. So it's the old, the status quo versus the new ways of doing things, coming out of tradition and old ways, limiting old ideas or conservatism, holding on to those old ways of doing things. We're moving towards the age of Aquarius, and therefore new technology, new systems, how can I say, we're moving forward with everything that is new. Even the Uranus, which rules Aquarius, right? The ruling planet of Aquarius, Uranus, which is very scientific. It's new ways of doing money. That's why with Uranus transiting through Taurus, it's, there are a lot of shakeups. Uranus is also humanity. It's the people. Uranus has been clashing with Saturn. Saturn is the governments. It's the world leaders. It's people that are in positions of power. Pluto in Capricorn also breaking things down a step at a time. Saturn, remember, is the mature, it's the elder, it's those people who sit on the throne in positions of leadership, which are going through many, many changes. There's a huge breakdown, and not only is it those that are in power are losing their power, and those that have been beneath, the underdogs are changing positions. I do feel this transformation on a collective scale, not only collectively, in a personal scale as well. On a personal scale, in certain areas of our life, we're going through major changes. Okay, and changes, huge changes, take forever. They don't happen from one day to the other. It's the small, many changes that can add up to make, make it a wider spectrum of change, or a bigger outcome of change within our own lives. So for everyone, it will be different, as we are all we're not identical. We're all individual people. We could see the transformation and the changes that are going on in the world. Okay, it's all about community. As we know, there's been so many limitations and restrictions with long distance travel, which is, the South Node transiting through Sagittarius. I mean, the South Node is very karmic. We've been sort of shedding old ideas, old belief systems. We've been blocked. We haven't been able to travel to long distances. Flight travel, we know, has been very difficult with the pandemic and everything that's been going on. But remember, this is the South Node. This is what we are shedding. We're excreting the South Node in Sagittarius, which Sagittarius speaks to freedom, does it not? Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter speaks to truth, justice, freedom, optimism, adventure. There hasn't been much of that recently because we've been karmically purging this area of our life. So where is Sagittarius and Gemini in your own chart? This is mutable energy. So the mutable signs of Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo have been copping the brunt of the eclipses, because since the eclipses have been happening on the mutable axis, Pisces and Virgo have been squaring to the nodes, to the eclipses. Therefore, if you are under those signs, those mutable signs, you've seen many changes that have been going on for you. Or if you're, we've all got those mutable signs somewhere in our chart. We've got all the archetypes within our own birth charts. Now, if you're not familiar with your own birth chart and you need help, send me a line, send me an email. I can draw up your chart and send it out to you free of charge. No problem at all. Now, this eclipse will also be referring back to the time when the nodes were transiting the same area of Taurus and Scorpio back in 2002. So, it's been 19 years that the nodes have, come back to the position of entering Scorpio and Taurus. So this is where we're heading to again, a revisiting. So there will be same situations or something echoing from back then in 2002, roughly, that we'll be visiting with this full moon lunar eclipse. Okay, obviously for Taurus it is more prominent, not to say that Scorpio is not affected, being right in opposition, and also Aquarius and Leo, but mainly Taurus. For you guys out there, this is something that you're completing. And remember, an eclipse is an amplified full moon, so it will be extra emotional for you. Okay, so very important time now, because we're looking at the Taurian area for this eclipse. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Now, Venus has ingressed into Capricorn. This is where she'll be retrograding around about on the 19th of December. Now, as she will get to the 11th degree, this is where she will move into her shadow phase. So she's preparing to retrograde. I will be doing a special video. We'll be looking at Venus retrograde for everyone, for all the signs. We'll be doing that on Patreon. So again, if you are interested in matters of love, money, that's what Venus rules, do join us. I will be going into many details there, but just giving you a heads up on Venus having entered into Capricorn, and Cancer, which is right across their cardinal energies, cardinal signs, right? So the cardinal cross, which also includes Aries and Libra, it's you that will be doing work with Venus. You'll be either challenged by Venus, or remember, retrogrades talk about old situations, maybe revisiting a situation concerning what's going on with Venus. As Venus is retrograde, she's obviously closer to the Earth and therefore more powerful. Now, she is transiting through the sign of Saturn. Saturn ruled Capricorn, so she's needing to mature. She's needing to dig deep and do the work. She's okay. She's quite comfortable in the sign of Capricorn as she gets along with Saturn, but I do believe that she's doing really hard work, recalibrating whatever it is that it speaks to you and what it's concerning. So what is Capricorn for you? Which area of life, which house does Capricorn rule for you personally? What I do know is that she'll be transiting through the sign of Capricorn. She'll be in there for about 3 months. So this is a long situation concerning Venus. So we'll be seeing a lot of things changing, happening, and things that will be playing out concerning Venus's transit and retrograde through Capricorn. So obviously for Aries and Libra, you will be in a square to Venus retrograding. Also, those of you that have got strong earth in your chart, because Capricorn is an earth sign, Venus will be in positive aspect to Taurus and as well as Virgo. So Venus's retrograde through Capricorn will behoove Taurus and Virgo. Now you could have, let's say, a stellium of planets in Virgo. Doesn't have to be your sun. You could have your rising in Virgo. Still, it will be important for you. So yeah, there are many layers in astrology. So it is a science that does take a lot of work and a lot of study to understand. Also, another note that on Patreon, I have spoken to my Patreon people, those who support Divine Debut 11 on Patreon. I have said that you can ask questions, not personal questions mainly, but more so when it's something that you don't understand. Okay, there are obviously perks for joining us on Patreon, and thank you for your support for those that are on Patreon with me. All right, so very important time. Now let's go to the now, to what's going on now in the next few hours. We've got the sun squaring Jupiter, everyone, and we know that the sun transiting through Scorpio is it a square because both Aquarius and Scorpio are fixed signs. Now Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, and the sun, well, we know that the sun is the king. So this is a square. A square means turning a corner. It's difficult. It is productive, but this is like we're feeling that there's a sense of bad luck. Remember, Jupiter does speak to luck and optimism. This is like a wet blanket where we're needing something to transform, something concerning our freedoms, being able to speak freely. Remember, Aquarius does rule social media. It also speaks to even Aquarius. Aquarius is freedom. Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, speaks to going on that adventure, truth, law, our philosophies. And in Aquarius, this is humanity. This is, I see Aquarius as, perception. It's the higher mind. It rules the higher mind, the intelligence, the ingenious mind. This is us doing the work, trying to find an ingenious way to break free from anything that's been binding, even if it's our beliefs. Remember, Jupiter and Sagittarius is our beliefs. So we are dealing with karmic situations that at this time are asking for work. It's asking for intelligence. It's asking to stay believing. Do not give up on your hopes, because the sun is doing the work. The sun is bringing the clarity through the darkness. The sun also rules our vitality, our health. our happiness, risk-taking, all those things. It's matters of the heart, something that is heartfelt. And the sun speaks to courage, leadership, right? And action. Remember that the sun rules Leo. And Leo it's fixed fire, but it's also generosity. It's the ability to create. Now, the creation can come through death and transformation, which is Scorpio, right? And we are talking about endings. Something's being eclipsed out of our life. Now, the sun transiting through Scorpio is, again, that flashlight that is shining the light on all those dark little hidden things that we've been probing for. Okay, and remember that as the sun is squaring Jupiter now, as the sun will ingress into Sagittarius, so roughly in about a month, what's going on now and what we're working on now and which corner we're trying to turn, which is not easy. They will be connecting, the sun and Jupiter will be connecting through a sextile 60 degrees, which will be like a green light for what's going on now. Now, Mercury is still transiting through Scorpio. Remember, Mercury is also the messenger of the gods. So he's visiting Hades. He's trying to bring up things that have been secretive, hidden, mysterious, trying to bring up the information. Remember that Mercury can be the trickster as well. So how I see Mercury moving through Scorpio, it's either that he's going to bring up information that's been hidden concerning what is Mercury. It's children, it's health, it's travel, it's news, it's information, it's communication. So it's either those things are being seen now, or they will be seen, they will be happening. I feel that with Mercury transitioning through Scorpio, as Mercury will exit Scorpio soon, I think that that's when most of the information will come through. Okay, because usually as a planet exits, so in about 10 days, as a planet exits, he's done the work, he's served his mission, he will then leave the rewards behind, leave his production, whatever he's produced for us as he's moving through Scorpio, he will show to us. Now, Mars is also there. Mars, again, very much about depth, desire, courage, the will to create. The passion is there, the passion to go deep, to look, to communicate. Okay, Mercury in Scorpio logically is quite secretive, doesn't talk very much. So, and as these two have connected recently, it has been quite frustrating. Maybe you're not hearing what has been hidden, the information you're looking for. Maybe you haven't been able to communicate it, to receive it, to hear it, whatever it is, to find out about it. Because Mercury can be the trickster, so he can be somewhat of a trickster, and there can be trickery as well. So do pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, which will be shown to us. Remember that as the sun will ingress also in about a week in the sign of Sagittarius, which is Jupiter ruled, okay? And I do feel very, very important, as remember the sun now is squaring Jupiter. So as the sun in a week ingresses into Sagittarius, which the sun in a fire sign, very comfortable, even though the sun will pass over the south node, right, and we're getting close obviously to the new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius, we will be seeing matters of things that are being left behind. The sun on the south node, the sun, as I said, brings clarity. We'll be seeing karmic things playing out. It can also bring us enlightenment or a sense of generosity, again, a sense of freedom, since we are having that karmic purge. We're going through a karmic purge, right? So I do feel that we're coming out of this Scorpio season soon, even though it's a very challenging one, as I said, because this is like the beginning. This eclipse, the lunar eclipse, will be the beginning of great changes happening for us all for the next year and a half. So yes, we've also got the sun sextiling over to Pluto, which is very powerful. This is very powerful, very positive. Remember that Pluto may be the smallest planet, but he's the furthest out in our solar system. Therefore, he's very much about great depth, of course, a great sense of death and resurrection. The sun brings healing to anything that is leaving our lives. Remember, Pluto does speak to riches. It speaks to the masses as well. So the sun, which does bring the healing, Pluto is dark. The sun will bring the light into a situation that's transforming, something to do with power and control. Remember, Pluto in Capricorn is all about control. It's all about penetration, penetrating, going deep, probing and going deep into what needs to transform. There's a sense of positive energies or help is there through spirit, through the divine, for us to be able to clear what is changing in our own lives, to see what has been dug up, what is changing from the root, from the depths of Scorpio and Pluto. Big changes, very positive. The energies are there, the positive energies are there, as long as we use them to our advantage. Now, what is difficult here, everyone, is, as you can see, Mars here is in opposition to Uranus. They will be exact in a couple of days. Let's move forward a little bit. So, as you could see, the moon has now on the 17th of November, which, oh my God, watch out on the news. 17th of November is a big day for Greece. We usually have uprising and troubles, warlike happenings in our cities, a lot of rebellion. The officials have already taken drastic measures. There'll be a lot of police on the streets trying to keep the peace, because even the way, the governments have been mandating so many rules and regulations that people don't agree with, we've been having a lot of pushbacks concerning the laws and the measures that have been taken. So this could be an extra explosive time in Greece. Tell me what's going on in your country. I'd love to hear that. But, Uranus being in opposition to Mars, that could be very explosive indeed. We've got air. Uranus rules Aquarius, which is the people, in opposition to Mars. Mars in Scorpio. Mars could be the is the warrior, is the soldier, is strategy, it's depth, it can be cutting, it could be desires, passion. This could be heavy rebellion and quite challenging aspects going on in the world. And opposition speaks to, it's like a tug of war. So it's, Mars can also rule the army, the soldier, the warrior. is in opposition to Uranus, which speaks to freedom. Okay, so our values, we're not opposing, there are opposing forces, and Uranus is rebellion. It's it's a tower moment. It's, remember, it's on the axis of fixed energies. Fixed means change, a lack of change, but Uranus brings the changes through tower moments. So do take care whilst driving. Take care with sharp objects, which is Mars. Uranus can be electrical, it can be stressful, it can be anxiety, someone trying to break free from something that they're not, they've got that drive, there's depth, and Mars in Scorpio it's like extreme. It is extreme. Something has to change. Something must come out of this. Okay, so change is unavoidable. Now remember, Uranus moving through Taurus, which is also the Earth, right? The Earth. This could be freaky weather conditions, harsh weather conditions as well. So earthquakes, this is the signature of earthquakes, Mars in opposition to Uranus, or even square. So do take care. Now, straight after that, we've got Mercury trining over to Neptune. So Mercury is at 18. Let's move forward. Okay, Mercury trining over to Neptune. Mercury goes deep, remember. Neptune can be the deception, the illusion, wearing rose-colored glasses. A trine is absolutely beautiful. This is information coming through. It can speak to health matters as well. Remember, Scorpio can also speak to poison, but also healing, finding the medicine, finding a way to heal. Neptune can also speak to medicines. It can speak to anything that is very spiritual. Both Scorpio and Pisces are both very much about spirit, strong intuitive energies. Okay, Scorpio is mysticism. Yes, it rules the depth, the darkest corners of things. But Neptune is more it's the ethereal awareness. It's the spiritual connection. It's the dreamlike energies. So there will be information that will be clearing. Remember, Neptune, I see it as clouds. Okay, Mercury is going to break up those clouds, that confusion, because for many of us, this will speak to information that Mercury is digging deep for. So, and it can also speak to, because Pisces and Neptune can also speak to psychological, spiritual, magical, dreamy energies. I do feel that this trine will be very positive. As Mercury, remember, he has got the ability to visit Hades in the depths of Pluto, but also at the ethereal level of Uranus, which is the sky, and Neptune is also very ethereal. So trines are beautiful energies. They're very flowing now. As well, we've got Venus trining over to Uranus. This could be a beautiful surprise, everyone. As you can see, Venus here, she's in a beautiful trine to Uranus. Now, this is a beautiful surprise. Could be a tower moment that can be a little bit shocking at first, but then it will work out in our favor. Okay, so Venus in a beautiful aspect to Uranus. Venus is what we love, what we work towards, what we want to build upon. This could speak to work, love, any area of life, depending on where Capricorn and Taurus are placed in your chart. Okay, so Uranus does not only bring us difficult tower moments, it also brings us wonderful news. Okay, so lovely. That's happening just before the eclipse, everyone. As you can see, the moon now is on the 29th degree. The eclipse is happening at the 27th. So anyway, it's only hours difference. Here we are exactly, everyone. This is the eclipse here. Okay, so 27 degrees and 14 minutes. And as you can see, our goal, which is a dark star, let's say, it's right on the eclipse, unfortunately. So it can be quite challenging, this eclipse. But anyway, that's what's going on. The eclipses can last up to months ahead, so sometimes the eclipse energies could be right on point, but then other times the eclipse, and whatever is being eclipsed for you could show even days after. It could be before, could be after. Okay, back to the current transits. So straight after the eclipse, we're going to have Mercury, which will be squaring over to Jupiter. So as you can see, Mercury's here, and Jupiter is here. Let's move forward. Here we go. So the square is roughly around the 21st of November. So what I think is this information real? Is there truth in this information that Mercury has dug up through Scorpio? And even though there is information or truths coming through, is there a sense of optimism, or does it ask for more work or more truth? Again, a square is difficult, remember. It's challenging. Jupiter is more about what is true. It's, I want that freedom. I need that freedom. I need to be able to expand. Mercury in Scorpio, which does take that Plutonian color, still it does rule information. So is the information that's come through, is that enough to bring that sense of freedom, or that sense of healing? Is that true or not? Will this information help bring justice, freedom to humanity? That's something that we'll be looking at here. And then the positive is that Mercury will also be sextiling over to Pluto. Remember, he works well with Pluto, so a sextile is very positive. Pluto is powerful. Okay, so it looks like even though we're turning a corner, and Pluto does speak to penetration, it's as though we're looking through a microscope now, with Mercury sextiling over to Pluto, looking at the finer details for that purging process, or that transformative situation that that's been playing out for us personally, but also on a collective scale. And then we have the Sun at the last degree of Scorpio. As you can see here, we've got the ingress of the Sun into the sign of Sagittarius. Happy birthday, dear Sagittarius. The energies will shift very importantly, as the Sun will be moving through Sagittarius, a Jupiter-ruled sign, remember. So there is positivity here. And as you can see, Venus is also coming up soon to conjoin with Pluto. And that will be an interesting one as well, because Venus is going to sort of stop on top of Pluto. So Venus and Pluto, values, money, riches, something's changing there. We're going very deep, right? We're going really deep. Venus on Pluto reminds me of Penelope, that was taken from her mother and taken into the dungeon with Hades. So, Anyway, we'll be talking a lot more about Venus in Capricorn in the future. As I said, for those of you that are wanting more information, more details, and how it affects you, how it could affect you, please do not hesitate to come and join us. Let's become a bigger family, a bigger soul tribe on Patreon and on YouTube. And thank you so much for your comments, everyone. Thank you for your support, for liking, subscribing, and being here, spending your precious time with me. I really want to thank you, and very, very important times ahead as we're in between eclipse energies and we're looking towards the end of the year. Still a lot going on. Stay strong. Don't stop believing. Be open to changes. If you feel as though you're pushing up against a wall and nothing is happening, go with it. Let it flow. Surrender. Let spirit lead you. Let spirit send you out those signs and synchronicities. Be open to pay attention to signs coming from numbers, songs, animals. Signs are sent from the divine all the time. Be open and believe, and it's no coincidence. Ever. So, all right, I will be taking the winners now for the month of November, who will be receiving their free reading in the month of December. Do join me to check out who are the lucky 3 winners moving forward. And December is a big month, obviously. We're coming towards the end of the year, everyone. So it's going to be quite a busy time. As we get closer to Christmas, it's going to be a very busy time. And from mid-December all the way to end of January, it's a really, really busy period for myself and for most of the, those people who either are astrologers or tarot readers. It's busy season. So if you're interested in a personal reading with me, get in quick before we get into the busy time. That's when we've got a lot more on our plate. So get in first. If you're interested in looking at 2022 and what that holds for you and your astrology birth natal chart, don't forget to reach out. We can look at all the details. We could look at the major transits, and we can look at your solar return, and there's so much we can do. If you are interested, you can find my website beneath the video. You can email me. All the links are beneath the video. So I will leave you there with that. I want to thank you all so much, sending you lots of blessings, lots of light, and lots of love, everyone. Ta-da.